In this video presentation, we're going to cover component options. Select Tools, Options, and open up the Components tree. I'm going to open up Surface Mount, Through-Hole, and FP Designer. Just going down the list, BGA would be the first component family. In this menu, you can change the rotation of the part. We have the default is lower left per IEC. Lower right, upper left. And one thing about this is that if you change from lower left to upper left, that it will change the D and the E dimensions in the calculator. So you are literally rotating the part, and therefore you are rotating all your dimensions for the package when you do that. Okay, just remember that. The origin is in the center. If you want the origin to be on pin 1, you could select pin 1. But the default is the center. Pads on assembly, none. But you have the option of doing an outline pad or a filled pad or none. Most people select none because adding extra additional pads to your assembly drawing layer adds a lot of weight to the library. Library size gets larger. Fiducials. Nowadays, assembly shops really don't need fiducials, and so I put the pin pitch as the default to be really low. But if you do use fiducials for BGAs and you do need them, just put in there the pin pitch that's going to be larger than what you want. In other words, if you have a 0.5 millimeter pitch BGA and you want fiducials, then you wouldn't put 0.5 millimeter here. You would put something bigger than 0.5 millimeter because it would say anything less than this pitch will get fiducials. All these menus here, all these things are the same. The only difference would be like a QFN, where you can rotate the part lower left. Pin 1 lower left is the default. Origins in the center, default. Pads on assembly. Tabs on assembly. So you have pads and thermal tabs. And then you have your terminal leads. QFNs have terminal leads that are rectangle, and they have terminal leads that are D-shape. And so you would pick your pad shape. Now you have different pad shapes. You could have a D-shaped pad, oblong pad, rounded rectangle, or rectangle. So you have all these different pad shapes, but you pick your favorite pad shape. Now for the rectangular lead shape of a QFN, we default to rectangle because of the lead shape. But you can change it to whatever you want. You can change that rectangular lead shape to rounded rectangle or oblong. And then when you do change a shape, you'll get a little message. Okay, so let's say I want to change the default lead shape for a rectangular lead to rounded rectangle. And a message will pop up and saying, do you want to change these for all these pins? And you would say yes, and it would go through every component family and change it there. Again, you want to change it back to the rectangle, change all these pins to this, and you would say yes, and then go and move on. Basically, so you can have in QFP and SOP, you can have a default pad shape for all your pins, but then you can have a pin 1 shape. So pin 1 can be rectangle, and your default pin shape could be oblong. So you have all oblong pad shapes for all your other pins, and then pin 1 would be rectangle. So you know that's a kind of like a polarity thing where you can clearly identify where pin 1 is. And again, quad flat packs also use fiducials, but we don't start putting them in until less than 0.5 millimeter pitch. But then again, if you don't want any fiducials, just turn the pitch down, tune it down low to a lower value, and you will not get any fiducials on your quad flat packs. The same thing holds for all the through-hole component families, axial lead through-hole, pin 1 orientation. Of course, this is the 2-pin part. Pin 1 is going to be on the left. The origin is going to be in the center, but you can go ahead and put it on pin 1 if you like. Pads on assembly, holes on assembly. Now, because through-hole, we have pads and holes. So you can add pads on assembly, and then you can also add the little holes on the assembly drawing too. And of course, you can go ahead and have outline for pads, and you can have solid filled for your holes, little dot. And then default pad shape is round, but for pin 1 it would be square. And this literally is only for square pins for polarized parts. If you have a resistor and you can invert the assembly, you can go ahead and change it. It's just going to have 2 round pads, okay? But if for a diode or any kind of axial lead part that has polarity, you're going to have pin 1 is going to be square shape. Okay. And you can just go all the way down to all the different component families, and it's going to be the same exact identical options for all the component families. For FP Designer, you can actually control all of the outlines here, where you can say, I don't want a body outline, or I don't want a silkscreen outline, or just uncheck the box that you don't want. Courtyard to body, 0.25, courtyard to pad, 0.25. So every FP Designer part that you build, these are non-standard connectors and non-standard semiconductors with unusual paste mask stencils and things like that. You'd want to push the part from the calculator to FP Designer, or start the part off in FP Designer from scratch, and you're going to get a 0.25 millimeter courtyard. And you could change the courtyard here, or you could change the courtyard in FP Designer in the actual program itself, and it will save that data to your FPX file. This concludes the video for component options.
Simplify, standardize, and automate an entire IPC and IEC compliant library. Detailed, accurate, reliable, professional. Highest quality footprints and 3D step models, clicks away. Many companies worldwide are easily generating their CAD libraries. You should too. Get a fully functional Footprint Expert Evaluation license for any CAD format and demo today. Contact us at PCBlibraries.com or call 847-557-2300.